Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. I love Christmas music, but this isn't about Christmas music. This is about Christmas movies. Now, just for the sake of openness, I want to tell you I'm taping this, recording this on, what's the date, Doc? It's like July something. You know how it is in the video biz. We do things ahead. Anyway, but I'll be scheduling this to come Christmas Eve. I was going to do Christmas, but decided on Christmas Eve for a couple of reasons. One, in some ways, Christmas Eve was sort of a bigger holiday in our house than Christmas. I mean, we did the presents on Christmas, and we had a Christmas dinner. Christmas Eve was when we had the hunky dinner. It My mother'd make sauerkraut soup, which some weird people in the family like. I, I gotta tell you, I was never a good Polak. I don't like sauerkraut. I don't like cabbage cooked at all. I like coleslaw. Um, but sauerkraut soup and I think be regular sauerkraut also. Uh, Kibasi and pierogies. Love pierogies. And what else would she make? She'd have salmon and wow, I'm forgetting what else she would make for it. But it was like two things made it special. One, like I said, it was the hunky food, and she kind of was doing it in tradition of her family. Although I I think the old-fashioned way was meatless, but she did make, like I said, she did make kibasi, and there was when she made sauerkraut, there'd be pork in the sauerkraut. By the way, people, if you're gonna make sauerkraut, yeah, go out and get a can of sauerkraut or uh, the ones in the bag. For some reason, the bag seems better. But you don't just heat sauerkraut through. I've seen so many places they'll have like sauerkraut for a Christmas dinner or whatever, or they'll just make it for hot dogs, and they think all you got to do is dump it in the same pot and heat it through. You need to cook your sauerkraut. I used to make good sauerkraut. It's funny I didn't eat it, but I used to host New Year's all the time and make sauerkraut. And what I would do is I take the sauerkraut and put onion and garlic in there, and I used a little brown sugar. People don't. A lot of people don't like their sauerkraut sweetened. And I'd get pork, and I like getting like ribs, because like we'd of course you'd have the party on December 31st. Well, I'd put my sauerkraut on December 30th and like cook it all day, and you knew it was cooked good when you could reach in and you'd pull out those pork ribs and they would just come out real clean. The bone would come out clean. And then I'd put it on again the next day and have it cooking all day. And then a little while before um, the party, I'd put the hot dogs in. Kibasi could go in earlier, but hot dogs, if you put them in too early, you just end up with these little shriveled things. But anyway, that's got nothing to do with today's subject, does it? Anyway, like I said, so in a lot of ways, Christmas, and it was the formal dinner. That's what I was going to mention. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, we'd have the turkey or ham. I think usually turkey. Um, but it'd be less formal. Christmas Eve, a lot of time we'd invite other friends and that to come. Anyway, always like Christmas. And today, though, what I was going to talk about is Christmas movies. And I wrote a whole bunch of them down. I'm just going to sort of go through them. I'm not going to do favorites, I don't think. Well, I do sort of have favorites, but I'm not going to do, like a top 10 or anything like that. There's just too many. So, first of all, let me tell you some that didn't make the list. No, I don't count Die Hard as a Christmas movie. You can argue with me if you want, but you're wrong. Um, Same with Lethal Weapon, even though it has a Christmas background to it. But I also, I don't put on my list. I'll mention this one just because a lot of people will disagree with this. Christmas Story. The one with Ralphie and his brother gets his tongue stuck to the pole and he wants the Red Ryder BB gun that's going to put his eye out. That one. I, I mean, I like it okay, but it's not one that I worry about going back to every year. Now, I will start right off with my favorites. It's a group because it's also one of my favorite books, A Christmas Carol. In other words, Scrooge. And I love my favorite Christmas Carol or Scrooge. You'll see the movies are called both, one or the other. My favorite is still 1951 Alistair Sim. And just to show you how much I like it, I did not have to look up 1951 Alistair Sim. But it's a good version of Christmas Carol. But another really good version was George C. Scott did one for TV. That was really good. And there was a earlier one that was okay. I think it's like around 35 or something that had some of the Lockhart family in there. If people, anybody's old enough to remember Lassie, June Lockhart, she played one of the daughters in that one. Uh, oh, I always liked Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Um, Only thing I always found weird about that one was they did Christmas Present before Christmas Past. And I always wondered if somebody had like mixed up the reels or something and then they just went with it. It just seems strange that they would do Present before Past. But I liked the music they had in there. I actually haven't watched it for a couple years, but I do remember Magoo the Scrooge sitting there counting the money. Was it like ringle, jingle, coins and when they jingle or something like that? But it was a good one. And a little off of that, but I like Bill Murray's Scrooged. The comedy version they did of that. I enjoyed it too. What else we got? Okay, one that kind of is related to Scrooge is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I know Courtney will back me up on this. We're talking the original cartoon version with the Boris Karloff narration. Yahoo, more Yahoo. But certainly not that mess with Jim. You know who I mean. But yeah, the Grinch. Grinch is good. Uh, While we're on cartoons, Charlie Brown Christmas was always fun. Always liked the Christmas play they did in there, and when the group got together and saved Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. Let's see, what else do I have written down here? Okay, I'll tell you one of my favorite just all around movies, Love Actually. Now, you know, I love movies that have different interwoven stories. And Love Actually, you know, it starts a little while before Christmas, but the whole thing is Christmas themed. But I love because it has several love stories of different types. You have like the husband and wife that's been married for a while and are on having kind of shaky grounds. You have the guy who just broke up with his girlfriend, his I believe they were a live-in girlfriend, when he finds her sleeping with his brother, and then he finds love again with his housekeeper, who doesn't speak English when they start. You have the recently widowed man who is learning to connect with his stepson, and you have that son who's having his first crush. What other love stories were there? I know I'm missing somebody. Well, there's um, oh man, how do I forget his name? Anyway, he plays the prime minister, and he falls in love with one of his secretaries. But you've got all this. You've got like, oh, one of my favorite stories in it is the two people who are movie stand-ins, and they're actually like the body doubles, and they 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 do all those. They do a bunch of scenes. You know, it's they use them to like light the scene and stuff before the stars come in and do it, and they spend all this time together and fall in love. So yeah. Oh, there's also another good storyline there is with one of my favorites, Keira Knightley, who at the beginning she's getting married, and unbeknownst to anybody, the groom's best friend is in love with her. Uh, so yeah, Love Actually. If you haven't seen it, why? And if you have seen it and don't like it, I might have to fight you. Another one. There's a new, well, it'd be the newest one on my list. I think it's a couple years old now. It's called Last Christmas, and it stars what's her name that played Dany on Game of Thrones. You know, the Khaleesi. But I like it because it's a little different. Um, I don't think it did really well at the box office or anything, but I liked it. It's schmaltzy, and as far as I'm concerned, you want that in a Christmas movie. You know, maybe not as schmaltzy as Hallmark Channel, but I'm not going to put people down for watching them because they're nice light entertainment. The only problem with them is they've got like three storylines, and they just put different actors in there. Anyway, so yeah, Last Christmas. If you haven't seen that, check it out. Let me know if you like it. Let me see what else I might have on my list here. Oh, okay, here's one that might upset some people, but I do like. Oh, God, I just forgot. Oh, I couldn't remember the name. I had to glance down at the list to find it. I'm sorry, but I do like It's a Wonderful Life. Love Jimmy Stewart in almost everything he did. But I like It's a Wonderful Life, you know? And I'll tell you, I'll tell you an old one that a lot of you probably don't know, even older people, because I'm not sure it comes on very much. But there's one, I'm not even sure how old it'd be. It'd be at least the 50s, maybe older. But it's called Pocket Full of Miracles with Glenn Ford and Betty Davis, and he plays sort of a wise guy type guy, and she plays this um, woman who sells apples on the street, and it's just an interesting relationship that they develop. Um, yeah, that's another one. Look that up if you ever see it on like Late Show or something. So let me see if there's anything I missed on here that I should mention to you. And uh, one of the biggest things to take from this is there's only one Grinch you should be watching. Do not. There was even another anime one that just didn't look that good, and definitely not the one with he who shall not be named. He just well, he's always got to mug everything and make it. He just makes it worse. Uh, so anyway, folks, if you watch this on Christmas Eve, have a Merry Christmas. And if you're a staunch conservative, happy holidays to you. And, you know, enjoy your family. Uh, if you're lucky enough to have kids around, that makes Christmas. And let's just go with have the holiday you deserve, huh? How's that? And one of the reasons I meant to mention before that I just scheduling this one for Christmas Eve is I will be doing one for Christmas also, but I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with that. But anyway, hey, let's change the sign on a little bit. How about peace on earth?